Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to this latest episode of Depression Help. I hope you're doing okay or good or better, and sorry if you were looking out for an episode last week. I know that some people watch them every week. I didn't remember it until Monday evening. By then I was tied up in getting ready for a gig and then at a gig and then pretty tired after it, so I put it in my phone as a repeating reminder so that I don't forget. So I'm also doing it in the morning before I start work. So what I thought would be good to talk about today, well done if you actually saw the title, balked at what it was, and then decided to watch it anyway, because for a lot of people the idea of getting up early is akin to suffering, and it's much nicer to think of having a long lie, being lazy, whatever, than it is to think of rising early. And some people regard themselves as being a morning person, and other part of the people regard themselves as being a night owl. And for most of my life I would probably have thought that I was a night owl, so I spent a lot of time up till stupid o'clock in the morning and getting up late. Like a lot of teenagers, very much so when I was a teenager, maybe sleeping even till tea time sometimes. And I think part of what I liked about being up till stupid o'clock was it was quiet and there was no one around, and I got peace and quiet. So that is obviously an advantage to being up late. Getting some peace and quiet, getting some you time or whatever. And I think, to be honest with you, I think that staying up late or getting up early are both habits. I don't personally believe, this is just my personal feeling, and I know that some people will object strongly to it, and that's okay. I don't personally believe that people are either morning people or night owls. I think that either way is a habit, and I think that choice comes before habits, so we can choose to create a new habit. And I've talked before about habits. Watch the video on that if you haven't seen it already and you think it might be helpful. The most successful people in the world that I know of, or some of the most successful people in the world, get up early. And I've talked in the sleep episode about your circadian rhythm and the fact that our bodies are kind of designed or have evolved to naturally be up when it's light and sleeping when it's dark. There are all sorts of processes that go on in your body. If you want to know more about that, just Google circadian rhythm. There are all sorts of processes that go on in your body that help you to sleep and help you to be awake. And there was always this my mum always used to say that there was a doctor in Bankfoot, which is where we lived when I was a toddler, and my mum always used to say there's a GP that used to say that it's the hours before 12 that count the most. And I used to think that was a load of rubbish, and I used to say, it doesn't make any difference as long as you get 7 or 8 hours sleep. It doesn't matter when they start. I was very wrong in that. I think there is a lot to be said for getting as many hours as you can in before midnight. I think that if you go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock, which might seem like a terrible idea to you or an extreme idea, I think there's a lot more benefit in those hours than there is if, say for example, you went to bed at midnight and slept for 7 hours. I think you feel better if you sleep earlier, sleep the same amount of time, but because it's before midnight and because you're more in sync with what your body naturally wants to do, I think that there's a lot of benefit in that. So that's my personal view based on experience. And remember that I would have said for most of my life that I'm a night owl, and I would have thought that that was reality and that was just what I was. So at least consider the possibility that being a night owl is a habit rather than something that you just are. And it's obviously good for everyone to work out what's best for them. But if something isn't working for you, or something that you've been doing isn't working for you, then perhaps it makes sense to try doing something different. And the reasons that, apart from biological reasons, your circadian rhythm, it being lightness and darkness, although I know it's dark in winter in the mornings, which makes it more difficult to get up early. There's a number of reasons why I think that it's healthy to get up early. Maybe you've had to get up early before and you don't normally have to do it, and you've actually felt better. Perhaps when you were going to the airport to go on holiday, for example, you had to get up really early, and obviously that's not good if you've been up late, because you're going to feel very tired. But perhaps there's a time where you've gotten up early and you've actually felt good. I personally think and believe for me myself, that I feel better if I get up earlier, as long as I've gone to sleep at a decent time. So I think that in general my mood is much better if I get up early, haven't had enough sleep, than if I have the same amount of sleep but get up later. So that's my personal feeling on it. And I know that a lot of people, as I said, some of the world's most successful people get up very early, and people who are super achievers, people who have done remarkable things, think athletes, special forces, all sorts of different people, they would say, or some of them would say, that the earlier they get up, the more they get done, the more productive their day is. So it's a hard sell if you think you're a night owl and that's just what you are. So it's just sharing some personal experience, really. But I do really feel that can be make a massive difference. So if you're struggling with your mood, if you're struggling with depression, then it's definitely worth trying. I started doing it when I originally quit DJing. I quit DJing, did it full time for 7 years. I was out 4 to 7 nights a week for about 7 years. And part of the reason for quitting doing it full time was because I felt like I tried everything to beat depression, and something I knew that wasn't healthy that I was doing was being up till stupid o'clock in the morning and sleeping late. And I knew that wasn't, or believed by that point that wasn't the healthiest pattern. And that was the reason for doing that. So things quietening down over summer for gigs obviously has positive and negative benefits, and as I've said before, it's always good to look to the positives. So one positive benefit I could see from not having to be out as many nights gigging was that I could shift my sleeping pattern to being up early in the morning, and I've done that. So I'm getting up at 5, 6 days a week, which might sound like cringy to you if that's not something you've tried before, but I'm getting up at 5, 6 days a week and having a lie-in on the day off, and I've found that enormously helpful. I'm in the gym before 6, and then I'm down at my units ready to work, unless I have to go somewhere else first, for 8, half 8 in the morning, which means that there's an awful lot more opportunity to get productive hours in. And whereas before that, when I was out gigging till late, sleeping not late but later, maybe 8 or something, by the time you go to the gym or whatever, you're basically getting your afternoon in, and then maybe having a gig at night. So there's a lot more productive hours for me. I've never filmed an episode of Depression Help at 8 o'clock in the morning before, and that's something that obviously is a benefit that, if I do it before I get started doing other things, then it's likely to happen. Whereas if I get tied up in what's happening with the day, then there's a notification coming up to the Depression Help episode, and there's more chance of things not happening if you leave it till later on in the day. So that's maybe another whole thing in itself, another episode in itself, but just snooze that. But basically, sometimes doing the thing that you least want to do in the day is in the morning can be helpful, doing it first thing. So basically, I usually do the gym straight away. So get up, go to the gym, and I think that most people probably have a fight to go on to get to the gym, or to do whatever they want to do. There's always different things you can think of, different excuses for not doing things. So the best thing to do is just do it. So I find it easier just to get up and go. So after I get up now, I don't sit down. I don't sit down on the sofa. I have my coffee and something to eat standing up, and then I just head straight to the gym, because if I sit down, then it's going to be more difficult to get up. So you know yourself and what's going to be best for you, but whatever you need to do to achieve your goals, that's what you need to do. Whatever you need to do to maximize your time, that's what you need to do. That's the most important thing. That's, it's just figuring out a way. It doesn't matter what other people do. It doesn't matter whether they have to do this thing or that thing, or whether they have to put this in place or that in place. What matters is what you need to do and figuring out what works for you. So for me, it's best if I just get up, and obviously I need some caffeine, and I need some nutrition, need some calories for the gym. But beyond that, there's not anything I really have to do at that point. I don't have to watch an episode. So I get up, go to the gym, come back, then reward myself by watching an episode, having a little bit of chill out time, maybe checking some emails, answering some emails, whatever, before I head to work for the day. So just consider the possibility that shifting your sleeping pattern could make a really big difference to you, because for me it can, it's really almost can be life-changing. That's not an overstatement, because if you're getting an awful lot more productive hours in your day, then good things are going to happen. You're going to get a lot more achieved. If you're working for yourself, then you're probably going to earn more money. If you're trying to progress, my mission is to try and become a full-time philanthropist. So the earlier I get up, the more work I get in, the quicker I can build business, the sooner I get towards that goal. So whatever your goal is, getting up early is probably a good way of working towards it. Now, I know that for some people that might be more difficult. For me, obviously, when I was working at night, or I'm still working at night, but when I was working, 5-6 nights a week, it's not really possible to be getting up at 5 as well. You can't burn the candle at both ends, or you can, but not for very long. So it might involve changing some of your circumstances to achieve that. I'm still gigging, but I haven't replaced any of the things that have fallen off during the week at the minute. Doesn't mean I won't further down the line, but at the minute I'm quite happy just to have clear days that I can work for my car company and gigging at the weekend just now. So another thing I said about the appeal of staying up till stupid o'clock in the morning is getting time on your own. That's another good thing about being up stupidly early, because there's not really many people about. I like people, I like seeing people, but it's also good to have some of your own time. So, most people sleep later, so, the house is quiet, there's not a lot of noise outside. It's a peaceful time. So If you like that peaceful time that you get from staying up till stupid o'clock in the morning, then there's another option for it, and I think personally it's a healthier one, and that's to get up early. So I don't know whether I've made the case well or not, but at least it's something to think about. It's something that you could try if you're struggling for options. And if you're serious about making the most out of your life, fulfilling your potential, hitting your targets, and doing everything that you can to battle with depression, then it's definitely worth at least trying. So I hope that's helpful to someone. And I hope you're doing okay, but if you're not, if you're really struggling just now, then please hang in there. Been there many times. I know how it feels, and it's always worth waiting to find out what's around the corner. So there's loads of times I could have given up. I'm glad I didn't. So I'm sure that, I believe that the same is for everyone. There's bad things that happen. There's good things that happen. Sometimes you get a lot of bad things all together. Literally had years of that, and that's tough to get through. But just remember that there are good things there for you, but you have to stick around to find them. So hang in there, do your best, and just keep fighting. It might always feel like a fight, but just keep fighting, and there'll be easier times as well. There's times when it's more difficult and you're fighting hard just to do basic things like getting up or whatever, and there's times when fighting means that you're absolutely smashing it and you're getting in loads of productive hours and you're making really good progress. And just keep fighting, just keep doing your best, and be gracious and accept the results that come from that. And just remember what I said about saying it's enough. I've done my best, it's enough. What happened, the result, that was enough. Just be grateful for what you managed to do, and don't beat yourself up for not managing to do what you maybe like to do, because you will get there. So take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.